Hello, everybody, and welcome to our episode of the Female Gentle Leaders podcast. And today I'm here with amazing Chaitali Desai, who is a luxury business and success mentor. And as we know, Chaitali, we talked here before we went live. We examined the topic about cultivating safety within so we can really grow our business. And I bet you already know that feeling that when you started your business, you were a different person. And we often tend to maybe even block ourselves from growing because we already feel like, okay, if I grow more, there will be changes. Maybe somebody will leave or I will be different. And we are afraid of it because we don't feel safe. And this is an amazing topic. And I'm glad that we can open it here with you. So, Chaitali, welcome. And can you tell us more about you and what you do?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me on, Polly. As you shared, I am a business and success mentor. I utilize tools such as human design, hypnosis to help create not only safety within, but to guidance, if you will. Because oftentimes, as you know, when we start our business, we have there's like this youthfulness and there's this a little bit of uncertainty. You get this idea and you're like, yes, I'm just going to run with it. And then you start and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Right. And so utilizing human design, I feel has really helped myself, my clients cultivate or create like a roadmap that says, okay, here I am. Here are my God-given strengths or the strengths that the universe has provided with me, and let me leverage that. And within starting to really understand how we were created to be, we start to cultivate that sense of safety. So for me, it's all tied in together. Does that make sense? And so what I've noticed
Yeah,
is
it
just for
does.
myself, even when I started in the online space, I didn't fully know what I was doing. I We're a corporate family, so we move quite often. And when we had moved back to the US, I had decided no matter what I did, it was only going to be online because it's easy to move with your laptop versus your brick and mortar. Or at the time, I had started a wedding planning business. You know, it's not as
You
easy to
can't
take that overseas with you.
like, like you can't.
And so, um, as I knew no matter where we lived, we always had Wi-Fi. So I was like, okay, this is how I am going to build. And that's exactly what I did. But when I actually started off not knowing what I was doing. And I started off in network marketing, not realizing what a massive industry that was. I just wanted better hair because after all the stress of moving around and just adjusting to life, I was like, oh, my hair it's taken a toll. So, anyways, long story short, I started in network marketing and I slowly started to find myself, started to really understand that I've always been a mentor, but now I had to own that title. I got to really step into that title.
And that's not an easy thing to do, right?
Mm-mm.
When when somebody tells me like you're a leader, it was the same. I feel like mentors and leaders, we need to really embrace that and stop fearing ourselves to even say it out loud. And I bet that this was your part of feeling safe. What helped you?
Yeah, well, I didn't even think of myself as that. I was just somebody who was like, "Oh, this looks like fun, and let me try it out." Right? So, the identity shift that needed to happen was really understanding that now I've stepped into this space of a leadership role, where in not only in my own business, but at the time I was also a mentor within someone else's coaching business. So how I was perceived and how I was seeing myself, there was such a disconnect. And it did feel unsafe and unnerving at times because not having that sense of identity as being the leader, as someone who is leading, really felt you don't get to show up in your full confidence. You're always a bit hesitant and you don't know, you second guess yourself, I think is the best way to put it. And when you are in that space, yeah, you can have doubts, but like second guessing everything you're doing, one, is exhausting, and two, takes you out of a point of power, like self power.
And I feel that we think, or something in our minds and bodies think, that if I say and embrace my power, and whatever that means for each and every one of us,
Yeah.
it will be hard to stay in that place. Like, for example, if I embrace the fact that I'm a mentor, right?
Mm.
Then now I need to be a mentor, perfect example of a successful person. I'm exaggerating, but I think that our minds tell us exactly that. Like,
Oh my God.
it's
Yeah.
really hard.
100%.
So, right? So that's why we don't accept it, because it feels like, okay, but if I say that, now I can't do any mistakes anymore because people are watching.
Yeah.
And then we don't feel safe. So again, we're back to that
We're
place,
back
right?
to building safety.
Right? Let's not talk about being a mentor, because then all eyes are on me and my perfection.
Yeah,
That's also the
100%.
thing.
And you play small because your doubts and your fears are so much louder than that initial spark that said, hey, this way. This is what you're doing. This is what you excel at. You do it anyways. Now put it out in public. And you're right when you talk about that perfectionism, especially as women. I'm sure for you also, we're so used to taking care of everybody and everything, but without a title. Even if you're a mom, a wife, a daughter, those aren't titles per se that you, it's not like your job description, yeah? But now you have this job description and you feel accountable to it. But again, because there is that disconnect between who you think you are and who you actually are, you don't feel safe in saying it. So in turn, we play small or we dabble. We never commit. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And what I wanted to ask you, what you felt, because for me, it often feels like there's a cultural acceptance of what a business owner should be like,
Yeah.
or a businesswoman, right? Like how you should dress, how your makeup should look like, what should you talk about, how you should talk about, how perfect you need to be for people to accept you. And I see how it's changing in these last 2 decades, maybe.
Mm.
For us women, it's still more engraved,
Yeah.
like the little good girls that we
Oh
should
my
be.
God, yes. That's actually my talk at the Women Thrive Summit this in
Right.
March. It's breaking
Yeah,
that
you will
that
meet us there
mental
in 2 weeks.
paradigm.
Yeah.
Because so what happens is, we want to be the good girl. It's been ingrained in us since we obviously childhood. And what ends up happening is it affects every aspect of our life, from the bedroom to the boardroom. And you're always externalizing our power, saying, okay, if I do this, they're going to think I'm worthy. And we keep in that cycle and we keep in that cycle. And you see it in women who are hustling, or they become so cold, thinking that that's the only way. Yeah. What we're seeing now slowly is we're seeing women who are in both their masculine and their feminine. They're allowing their full expression to come out. And in order to do that, we have to embrace both of those energies. And when I say masculine, feminine, I'm not talking man, woman. I'm speaking more in terms of like yin yang, where we get to have that masculine side of us that has structure, that's organized, that's detailed, and our feminine side, where all our creativity, our actual life force, that says, okay, I have this schedule, and that gives me a sense of safety. Then your feminine
I
gets to
ask you, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to ask you,
uh,
what helped you in embracing it? If we go back to embracing you being a mentor,
yeah.
and how it's not easy, what helped you, like really as you said now, the masculine, the feminine.
Yeah. Shifting my
What
mind.
helps you?
I had to do a lot of subconscious reprogramming to, one, shift that good girl paradigm, understanding that I was already worthy. Then it was to step into, in human design, I'm a 5-2 manifesting generator, really embracing that fifth line, who is a natural leader, and understanding that I was already doing it. Now I got to consciously do it. And a lot of, in the beginning, I did EFT, emotional freedom technique. You can tell I'm a very animated person. So it was really exactly, it was great to verbalize what I was becoming, what I desired, and then tap along the meridians. So I'm certified in that. And as I really started to embrace that, I then added hypnosis, bypassing my conscious mind and getting right into the subconscious and rewiring it for success, to step into this leadership role and fully embrace it without apology.
And can I ask you what helps you in the day-to-day life to
Yeah,
feel safe? Because you are growing all the time, right?
right.
And we aren't living in a world that is 100% safe
Mhm.
in any meaning as we can take it or live it. So, what helps you to really grow and still feel safe, right? So you don't create from the disconnect.
A lot of it is my daily practices. So in the morning is the meditation, um, journaling out just whatever is in my head, because I need that to be removed so that creativity can come in, and honoring structure. Look, I have spent years fighting against myself, saying, I don't need a calendar, I don't need a schedule, I'll just wing it. In winging it, because I never had that, okay, it's 2 o'clock here, I'm going to do this. Or, hey, it's roughly 5 o'clock, it's dinner time, I get to move into that next role, if you will. I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. And unbeknownst to me, I was undermining myself constantly, because in flying by the seat of my pants, and I love spontaneity, so don't misunderstand me, but structured spontaneity in that I know after 5 p.m., okay, I move into mom time, then I can move into reading time. It just opened up so many things. So really embracing structure and sitting down, I became like a whiz with the Google Calendar and color coordinating it,
I
making it
love
look
it. I love it.
pretty.
I love it. Yeah.
And
It
it's
makes
so
life easier.
simple. It makes life easier. It sends me notifications, what I have to be doing. And look, it sounds so boring if you really think about it. But when you look at some of the top executives or top um, influencers, for lack of a better word right now, Steve Jobs literally wore the same thing every day. Why? Because it took out thought. Mark Zuckerberg, same thing. They do this not because they can't afford a tremendous wardrobe, but it takes out the excessive thinking. Same thing in structure, same thing in putting it on your calendar. Okay, I know it's 8 a.m. I'm on live with Poli today. 9 a.m. I'm doing this. And when you don't have to think about it actively, it allows yourself a space to know that, oh, okay, I've got this. I know where I need to be. I know what to expect. And then it's still, there's like a curiosity that develops on the back end of it. Because when I come to this live with you, who knows what we're going to talk about, right? So there's that sense of spontaneity. But I feel comfortable and safe in stepping into this space, knowing that I've nourished myself, mind, body, soul business, all aspects working together.
And it's so true that I think in the rational mind, we know that, for example, this simple thing as a Google Calendar can free our mind from all the holding, even the holding of the calendar, right? Like
Yeah.
what is happening then? But something in us won't let us do it, right? We go around it. We know this is the best way, but we try the 12 or 20 other things before we finally go to that best. way to do it. Do you see it too?
Yeah. I'm a walking representation of that person. I'm telling you, I fought it forever and a day. But the moment I embraced it, I saw a difference in how I showed up. I saw a difference in my bottom line. I saw a difference in how I mentored. And really, on the face of it, it sounds very silly. But because I didn't have to think about it anymore, I freed up that space to be present with you, to be present with whatever I was doing in the moment. And that's worth it. Being able to just be present with you, having this conversation, then, okay, next. But in the moment, I don't have to think, oh God, am I forgetting something? Right? As a mom, as a business owner, as a wife, whatever your titles are, whatever your job description is, doesn't matter. These simple practices put into place are paramount.
And as you said before, often the reason of everything is the hustle mode.
Yeah.
Like the beliefs create that urge in us to be in the hustle,
Right.
to earn the right to be successful. And even this example of Google Calendar is a proof of it. Because if I'm not stressed and if my mind isn't full of things I need to do, what happens?
Am I even doing anything?
Right?
Right.
The ease is often so scary that we choose, right, the difficult ways. For example, I'm a former ads manager, so I use always ads for my business. And I see so many CEOs in the global world, because here in Czech Republic, we use ads, we like them.
Yeah.
But in the global world, I see for years women that grow, but then they say, but I grow only organically. And when I ask why, they often don't know why. They often
Yeah.
just say, well, I tried it once, it didn't work, so I just don't do it. And I often, even in that, I see the pattern of choosing the organic growth. If it's really like my strategy, that's amazing. But sometimes it's that hidden pattern beneath that,
Yeah.
still choosing the hard way to grow, to feel successful.
I think there's a difference between hustle and sacred hustle. And what I mean by that, in sacred hustle, you're moving as one unit, mind, body, business, soul. You know, okay, if we'll take your ads. Okay, I know that I want to run this ad because I want to increase my visibility because I want to get to whatever the outcome is. Maybe it's 10,000 followers, maybe it's you have a freebie that you're putting out, whatever that is for you. Putting the effort into that with intention, right? I think with hustle, you're just hustling for the sake of hustling. Okay, I know that I need to get to 10,000 followers. I have to post a ridiculous amount of content. Doesn't matter if the content's good, but the more I put out, the better it'll be. And eventually I'll get there. That hustle, we're seeing it take so many entrepreneurs, even corporate. You'll see corporate people having the same issue and they're exhausted, they're tired, and stress is at an all-time high. That's the other reason I introduced hypnosis. Hypnosis is a natural, it naturally lowers your blood pressure so that you can show up calm and collected for whatever life is bringing your way. But in in old school hustle, we're seeing it now, all the aftermath. We're seeing it in the medical units. It's at an all-time high because we moved out of alignment. We're just constantly, again, we've put power outside. We have given it, we've externalized it. As we start to internalize our sense of power again, we move in such a way that says, okay, Polly, I need to run ads. Here's what my intention is. Here's what I want it to look like. Here are the hours or whatever, right? There's structure behind it. It's not just running. And I'm sure you've seen it in your clients. You've seen it, you see it online anyways. You can do it. but you're going to be miserable. I don't know about you, but I don't have time to be miserable.
I'm always for the ease.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I'm a 3-5, so we have
Ah,
that five lane the same. And
yeah.
as a 3-5, I'm a big experimenter, right? So I
Yes.
really love to play and test. And I always find that easeful way to do it. Because exactly, I love being with my clients and I hate being with my clients when I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
Like,
we're people in general. I mean, when you're tired, you're cranky. No one wants to be around us when we're cranky. Come on now.
nobody. And we were talking about dealing with the up level. This is
Yeah.
when we often don't feel safe. We get used to things, right? So, as you said in your story, you embrace that fact that you are a mentor. You started to feel safe there.
Mm.
And I bet you already up leveled that, right? And your
Yeah.
clients do that often. So, how can we maybe even just sense that moment when we are starting the new up level?
You'll feel uncomfortable. It's a discomfort. And I think oftentimes people see it as resistance, but it's there because you're growing, right? And embracing that again, really looking at it. Okay, why am I feeling, ooh, excuse me, why am I feeling this way? Am I actually resistant or is there something for me to learn here? And I think having that sense of curiosity, I, in everything that you can do, if you can look at it through the eyes of a child, right? It changes everything. And looking at your growth, looking at that discomfort and saying, okay, why am I actually uncomfortable right now? What is happening for me? Not what's happening to me, but what is happening for me? And how am I going to learn from this? What can I learn from this? And moving again with that sense of curiosity, I think will surprise you because I know it does me every time. I'm moving through something so massive right now, and at times I'm like, could we just be on the other side of it right now? But I know that there's something else in there for me to learn. Same advice I give my clients. Yeah, I very much believe in that mentoring from a space of where what you've led yourself through. It's one thing to read about it, is a whole different thing to actually walk that path. And when you start to open up and be curious and move with it, I think oftentimes women, especially, we get uncomfortable because of the uncertainty. And then we're like, but what if everyone leaves us? Because as nurturers, we want to keep everyone together and keep everyone happy. But there's this book called The Energy Bus, and it talks about it. My mom probably has never read this book, but she taught me this at a young age. Our life, people will come on our, and our, if our life is our bus, right? Some people will come on the bus, they'll be on there for a few stops. Some will be on there for a longer, and some will be there forever. But getting comfortable with the fact that not everyone is meant to be with you makes this journey, whether in life or in business, so much easier to understand. And if they were there for with you for a short amount of time, revel in it and enjoy that time that you had with them. And then it's okay to keep going.
And I think we are here touching a part of it, and that is enjoying the life as it is right now,
Yeah.
right? Because if we try to control everything, if we are thinking, if we are just afraid of losing people, we
Yeah.
are not enjoying them in this moment, right?
Yeah. We've
And
already
then,
lost.
yeah, so for me, it's always about just being in the moment, right? We never know what happens. We are never in control of anything, even if we would love that, and even with if we think we are in control, right?
Yeah.
And this is maybe that feeling as you described, like that uncomfortable feeling that something is changing. So I'm again losing control. I'm again not understanding where I'm going, right? That fighting against everything. against the natural
Rhythm.
flow of life often, right?
Yeah.
What
And then you're
helps you
exhausted.
let go, right? What helps you to let go? Is there something?
Oh God, surrender. Surrender has been a lesson that I'm still in the process of learning. Um, but really embracing that I am safe to let go. You know, change is inevitable, and making peace with that, whether it be in your relationships, your business, every aspect, as 5 lines, everything we talk about is practical. And everything I mentor on is through the lens of business, but it can be applied to life. And one thing that I am certain of is that change is inevitable and to embrace the uncertainty. And that starts by building your sense of self and internalizing your sense of power again.
And safety, right? The safety is there.
Yeah.
Just if I know I that everything is created for me
Hmm.
and that I'm always capable of surviving, even if not enjoying every part of my life,
Yeah.
I can make it, right?
Yeah. 100%. And and I think that's a really valid point that you touch on there, that not everything is going to be rainbows and sunshines. We want that,
Never.
yes.
For us, 5 lines like, oh no, I'm used to it.
Right? And it's part of the journey. But it's really looking at it and asking, okay, what am I going to learn from this? How is it going to benefit me? And I think cultivating that mindset, creating that sense of curiosity, it inevitably leads to a sense of safety, because no matter what, you've got this. And I think the best way to put that is like you've got your own back. Yeah.
Definitely. I know so many times, for example, with my clients, they come to a session and they are really stressed. Like, what if I don't make that money? What if that launch doesn't
Yeah.
work? And I just ask, was there any time in your life when you weren't able to take care of yourself to get out of a situation? And always, 100% of the women remember their own power and say, no, you're right. I always earn the money. One day or the other, I always find a way.
Yeah. We all
And
need
they
that
calm down,
that reminder.
right? Because we forget. We are in that figuring out mode and we
Mhm.
just forget that we are amazing. We
Yeah.
always take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
We have that power. We are safe with ourselves.
Yeah. And repeating that to yourself, right? If you're going to create, so many times everyone's working on a negative bias, so the loop in their mind is not nourishing them. And if you stop to think right now, not just you or your listeners, okay, what am I actually thinking? High probability is like, oh, I can't do this. Oh, it's too easy for them. They can do it. I can't do it. Stop that loop.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah, exactly. When you bring awareness to what you're actually thinking, I think majority of us are shocked. You will be shocked at what the loop is going on in the background. But it's that loop that dictates everything that you're doing. So if you're looking at life through that lens already of I can't, don't be surprised that you can't. You already set that in the momentum. So catching it, or start intentionally saying to yourself, I can do this. I'm safe. I've got this. Whatever your vernacular is, use it, but create that for yourself. And if you need to, pen to paper, pencil to paper, beautiful. Keep writing it, because now you've just shown yourself, oh, it's something tangible. It's real. It's not just a thought, right? For some, if you need that extra um, evidence, write it down, right? Really cultivating
It's
these
amazing.
habits. as simple as they sound, has built that safety to where we are today.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we said with the Google Calendar, right? The simple things can really change our lives.
Yeah.
So we can really just stop
We're
searching for the
complicating.
complicated. Yeah, we always
Right?
search for the complicated. Like,
Simple is
and
sexy.
exactly. And you mentioned at the beginning that we have our talks at the Women Thrive Summit.
Yes.
And because it's really approaching, it's in 2 weeks already,
I
less than
know.
2 weeks, 13 days. I'm on Monday, so today's Tuesday, so it's less than 2 weeks. And I wanted to ask you because I will share the link so everybody can join us. And it's live, so please join us and enjoy our talks live. What is your talk about?
Shattering the good girl mentality to grow and scale financially.
Oh,
Because we have this undercurrent of a good girl that's, again, dictating everything from the bedroom to the boardroom. We get to change that. So, in the talk, I'll be talking about how your subconscious is running the show. And I'll be offering an experience, a hypnosis experience, where we can start to release some of the shame, guilt, noise that's sitting there so that you can walk away with some clarity and understand that you get to be a badass woman and it
that
is safe.
sounds amazing. That sounds incredible. So,
Thank you.
when is your talk?
I
That's
am
important.
on Thursday, March 21st at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, great. And you will find all the details about our talks in the link. I can now put it in the banner so you can find it here too, but it's womenthrivesummit.com, right? Womenthrivesummit.com and find it, join us. It's soon. And it's an amazing,
It's a
I can't
powerhouse
say
event.
enough. Yeah, and it's a community. We know each other for months now. It's not just like meeting to create a talk. We are excited about our talks. I'm
Yeah, there's
excited
been
to
so
see.
much collaboration on the like outside of
Yeah,
just the summit itself. It's been amazing, and to know that the international scope of how many lives we get to really touch in that sense, and all of the women, 52 women selected out of how many thousands.
yeah,
It's a big deal.
yeah, and we can be a part of it and really share with you what we live,
Yeah.
what we teach, how we support our communities. And this is incredible because we can experience it. It's not just sitting and listening, but I think with most of us, you will be experiencing things, feeling things. And this is what growth is about. It's not about just, as you said, we need sometimes to write it down, to start doing the steps. And the first thing is to even feel it. Feel
Yes.
if it's right, feel if it's not working, whatever, but feel it. Chaitali, thank you so much for being here, for really diving deep in the topic of safety and entrepreneurship and success.
Thank you so much for
Have an
having me
amazing,
on. I loved it.
you're welcome. And my last question
Mm.
is there something you feel needs to be said? Is there something to that you feel you want to close your interview with?
Yeah.
A message.
Everything I close with this one statement. Anything is possible once you decide. And that's where your power lies, in your power of deciding what is for you. What do you want?
I can just breathe through it.
Yeah.
Like when we just say this phrase, it can be just a phrase in the wind, right? But if you feel it deeply and you really ask that question and sit with it can really change everything, right? So thank you for it. I
Thank
love this question. Sometimes I hate it, right? When I don't want to know.
But even
And when
that's
I'm
an answer, right? So,
exactly, but It's an amazing question. So thank you for it. And thank you for being here. And for
Thank you
all of
again.
you, have an amazing day and see you next time. And connect with Chaitali.